Now recording.
Okay, we're recording. All right. So, you good, Fordo?
You good forward?
I think we're ready to do this.
I've got my notes in front of me.
It's going to be so cool hosting the show this week. The guys are having a break.
Yeah, but how did you convince them to let us do it, Andy?
Well, it was easy to convince them by not telling them anything about it, to be honest.
Wait, so you didn't tell them we're recording the podcast?
Well, they're supposed to record it tomorrow because that's when they do it, but they left the Discord unlocked, so I thought I'd let myself in.
Well,
Welcome to Two Hunters and a Warlock, an upside-down Destiny 2 podcast. A show where we discuss tips, tricks, and tools to help all Guardians succeed and enjoy playing more. What makes us different? Well, we're not streamers or YouTubers. We just have a passion for Destiny and are dedicated to keeping Guardians informed and up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 information, news, and opinions. We encourage your questions and feedback, and you can contact us either by email at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com or on Twitter at twotitans_hunter. That's the number 2. Now, on with this upside down show.
All right, so thank you for joining us. My name's Ander13, but everyone calls me Andy. I've been on the podcast before a couple times. Back then, I was a hunter, but I realized that the master race is actually a warlock. So I've been running that class for a bit now and enjoying it. Joining me is Fordo.
yeah, so I'm Fordo 1990. I've been playing Destiny since Destiny 2 first came out. I usually main a hunter. Occasionally I play the other classes, but they just aren't any fun.
And I'm Packed Llama. The guys call me Llama. I'm main on the PC and I'm a hunter main. I started back with Destiny 1 on the Xbox. Really enjoyed it. Took a break, came back in for Destiny 2 on PC and have been loving it since.
Cool. I didn't go into detail with all that stuff because, one, I forgot, and two, I probably mentioned it in the previous times I've been on anyway. So
that's cool. Well, obviously, guys, last week we had the introduction to the raid race. Day 1 started. I was part of the team for the PC crew with the Frozen crew with Fuzzco, Peace Pipes, Crow. We had Respawn and Kittens and Pale as well. So we had an extra one, which was myself just sort of helping out. I was mainly doing a lot of the cartographer things. So I was, as we were going through and doing the actual raid, I was trying to create maps for everyone, putting it in the Discord, which was quite fun. And I think a lot of the fact that we'd all done raids before through the previous seasons meant that we all sort of worked well together and were able to sort of discuss things and see similarities between it. So I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to look at any of the videos that have come out of the raid, but it was pretty awesome. But I know that Bungie's just brought up now the winner of the World First, which controversially was actually 2 different teams. There was a team first that supposedly won, which was the Slayer team. They were ahead of the announced winning team, which was I think they're called Lumina. It was the actual winning team that Bungie announced was had Atora, Claw, Flux, Shenzi, Siege Dancers, and Soto Solace. Soto Solus. So those guys are the official winners. And the reason that they beat this other team, as far as I'm aware with what I saw, was that they were able to finish the raid, open the chest, and go to orbit first. So if you look at Claw's video, or Luminous video, if you look at the Luminous clan video as they're playing, you can actually see that they've got information from people saying, oh, Slayer's team is, about 25 minutes in front of you. And it got to that point where they were neck and neck with the last boss. But congratulations to Luminous team, because they, in the end, were the victors, completing the raid in under 6 hours, 5 hours, 29 minutes and 10 seconds, which was pretty awesome, considering how some teams didn't get to finish. So that's good. As far as how the Frozen team went, we were all there. No one was late. It was really good. We worked out a lot of the encounters quite quickly. However, we got stuck on the second encounter for quite a bit of time. And I think just because the whole raid was under power cap, so it didn't matter if you were 1250, 1260, you were capped at 1230, and all the ads and bosses were much higher. So damage was taken by all and not dealt by much. So we got stuck on the second encounter for a while because it was quite unforgiving. But the new mechanics to it was really good. I'm not sure if you guys do much raiding yourselves. But
occasionally, Fuzgo and the team have taken me through a couple times, and a lot of the times I learn a bit of the mechanics, but mostly they just, put me in their backpack and on the Sparrow and just take me through.
Well, this one had a new mechanic, which is quite similar to things we have seen before. If you've done Crown of Sorrow or Garden of Salvation, this raid kind of needed you to have everyone doing a role of some kind. Even though I do know there are videos now of people 2 and 3 manning it, but at the time you wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah, at the time you wouldn't have been able to do that. So there was a few different roles people had to do where one person could see something that was hidden to everyone else, which was called the scanner perk. And then you had someone who was called the operator perk, who was the only person who could operate the doors, and so on and so on. So people had to work together in teams to try and complete the tasks. That was fine. The first encounter was really good. The second encounter for us, however, though, was exactly the same, but it was on 2 different platforms. So there was an orbital platform and sort of a ground platform. So you had to move teams between the orbital and the ground, which was cool the first 100 times we were going into the launch pods and getting shot up into space and down. That was all really cool. But the fact that we were so underpowered for it meant that if you got caught off guard, the boss could pretty much just tear you apart. And once one person died, you had a small chance of being able to revive that person and keep everything on track because the timer was unforgiving in that instance. Also, I'm not sure if it's a glitch at the moment. Definitely was on the day. If you did, there's a certain time you could damage phase the boss, and if it's almost seemed like if you did too much damage, he got half his health back. So it took twice as long to get him to a checkpoint in his life. And then the last phase was pretty hard because if you only had about 10 seconds to shoot him, and if you shot the wrong one, you wiped. So
wow.
If you can imagine, we wiped quite a few times. Yeah. The team spirits were quite high, but that was good. It does help if all your team members know they're left from right and they're up from down, which did come up a couple of times. People at the wrong door. But look, we stuck with it all, had a little break, came back, got all the way through to the last boss fight, and it went from there. So if you have a look now, though, since the raid was complete, kind of like with the Dreaming City, there's public events that are sort of happening with the Meteor Shower that happens around Europa, and there's even some of the buffs that we had to do in the raid, like the scanner perk and stuff, is now accessible to certain things in that area where the Meteor Shower is happening. I can't exactly remember the proper name for it, but
the Meteor Showers, I've only just noticed them recently. Did they become available because of the raid being completed?
Yes. So without giving spoilers away of what the raid was about, because I think everyone should at least watch it or have a try, because the environment that they built for this Deep Stone Crypt, I thought was really beautiful and amazing.
If it's anything like where, sorry, spoiler alert. The Big Exo is, that area looked amazing. If it's a lot like that, then that just the red and white theme when you go down initially, it looked beautiful.
Yeah, there is. So it doesn't go to that spot with the giant Exo head, but it does, obviously, spoiler, it does deal with the Exos, the Deep Stone Crypt, where they make the Exos.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
And so essentially it goes into that area, and the Fallen are working with that system. They're trying to use those. And so you get to go to a lot of Clovis Bray's Exo production and creation area. And part of that, as I was saying before, where you go to orbit, there's possibly something to do with that up there. And then bits of that are now falling down to Europa, which is what the Meteor Shower is.
Well, I think I know who I'm going to go to for a carry. It seems like you know a lot about it.
Yeah,
so,
I think I'm lining up too.
Yeah. You got a double backpack?
Double backpack? Yeah, well, at least I've got a side cart for my Sparrow.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. Shotgun.
So Harley saddlebags.
Most definitely. Look, it's one with all the new things that have come out of it. So if you can get the Lament exotic sword, it does crazy amount of damage to the boss. And the fact that now people aren't underpowered, it's a lot easier than the first day. But as far as getting through the mechanics, it's kind of the same mechanic carried through all the encounters, which is really good.
It's good. It's kind of annoying when you learn a mechanic and they completely disregard it for the rest of the activity. It's like, well, you've learnt that, you've mastered it, but now you've got this.
Yeah.
Now forget all that and try this one out.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. And as I was saying, that scanner mechanic is now available in the free world or the open world on Europa, in the area that shows on your map where the debris is falling. You'll find a vandal that carries that scanner mechanic. So at the moment, I've only killed him once and haven't found out where to use it. I do know that there are videos out there what to do, but at least it's kind of cool having that aspect where, like with the Dreaming City, once someone's opened it up, the Dreaming City's changed. There's now curses and stuff happening to it. Well, it seems that Europa's getting its own version with these meteor showers, and
it's really cool what they're doing. They're just it's keeping it exciting.
Exactly. So every time they have a new season or something, it's going to keep it going, something new each week or each month, to keep people that have obviously sat there and grinded at the start and sort of got themselves through 90% of the game to actually want to keep coming back and finding something new. Like with the Exo head now being available to go into that area, all that stuff is really cool. And like you said, Andy, it's you look at the environment of it, and it sometimes seems simple because it's just a construction area for the Exos, but at the same time, if you've ever been into sort of the lore of Destiny, it's kind of really cool to see where it all came from, where it all started, what the possibilities are to come out of it. Yeah.
I like that. They're finally, like, I know lore's always been a part of the game, but I feel like I'm getting more into it now than I did in the past, and that's mostly because of people like Not Half that out there spreading the word for us, people that kind of don't know anything about it. So it's good to actually see and listen to the stories, and it's good.
Yeah, well, as I was saying, look, congratulations again to Luminous Rose. They did above the rest of everyone else, and they won that race in the end. So I do apologize for saying your name incorrectly before.
Yeah, no, good work. All right, so on the 24th of November, Bungie released Destiny Hotfix 3.0.0.4. Seems like they're releasing a hotfix almost every second day, to be honest. But
right.
I guess they do need to fix their problems. So at the moment, their activity fixes. They fixed an issue where strikes in the Vanguard playlist they were incorrectly set to 1100 power, which would have been a struggle for most that have just started playing. But now they're set to 10. Now they're set to 1050 power. So if you're just getting into the game, you can jump straight into strikes and get that loot.
It does seem to be a lot more new light players, which is good. So
yeah, it's great. Keep them coming. And also, if you're new, just jump into Crucible. You'll love it, and just let us know, and we'll hopefully be on the opposite team. But Anyway, yeah, so they fixed an issue where enemies would continue to spawn during certain activities in the Cosmodrome. Note, this should resolve an issue where gaggles of Guardians would convene in the Divide, all shooting into a cave-like structure.
They keep nerfing all those secret areas. These loot caves.
Well, you know what? If people didn't just, tell too many people about it, we'd still have this.
Yeah.
Still have it. Just, keep to yourself. Don't stay there for too long. Just hop in the cave, stay there for about 10 minutes, leave, come back another day. Just don't be too sus. Don't be too sus.
Yeah, don't just sit there and go from 1050 to 1200.
Yeah, that's they're probably saying, oh, this Guardian's. I've seen lots of Guardians level up in this one particular area. Something's not right. But yeah, that loot cave was a good source of loot in Destiny 1. Wasn't expecting it to come back in Destiny 2, but it did briefly. I missed out on it, but I'd just rather play the game anyway.
Well, that's it. That's the other side, isn't it? Just play it correctly. And
there's just so much content with this new update. You can just play it and level up at your own pace. But yeah, so they fixed an issue where players could skip to the end of the Valet Labyrinth Lost Sector.
I didn't actually get to do this. I saw the video, and by the time I got back from work, it was already patched. Don't
you hate that? You find out that there's some cool new break in the game that you can exploit, and then they fix it before you get a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah. Crucible.
Every time.
They fixed an issue where Defeat's audio was playing too often. That's just a kick in the guts, isn't it?
I don't know.
You lose.
Notice the difference.
I didn't experience it myself, but I can imagine like you lose and it just constantly Shax or someone just telling you you've been defeated.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Just over and over.
It's like he boos at you. Boo!
Yeah.
You lost.
It's like the drifter comes in and he takes over, just abuses you. Weapons. Fixed an issue where trench barrel was not being removed after firing 3 shots. All right, so where was this? Where was this news while it was happening?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about it when it's gone.
Why is I find about this stuff after the fact?
Yeah.
Every time.
Like you said, because the people that know it and are going to use it aren't going to tell us about it.
Yeah.
Until they've had their fun and then they want it to be nerfed.
Yeah.
Like the Wither Horde. Whoever figured out that the Wither Horde was just being fired like a bow and absolutely destroying
that that got fixed so quick. Like they were onto that super quick. I feel like I was even using the gun, but I obviously used it straight after it. Just I missed out.
Yeah, I think I used it before it started doing that.
Yeah,
and then I found out it got taken out of the game for a bit, and then I came back after it was fixed.
Oh, poor G-Dad. Like that's his favorite gun, and I was receiving so much abuse on my phone as to why his power was low, and I did not know why at the time. Then I realized it was because his favorite weapon wasn't being counted.
Acceptable. Yeah, no, likewise, I didn't get to use it at all. I used it during the previous season and was looking forward to using it this season, but it was already shut out by the time I got there. Anyway.
Yeah. I can agree with G-Dad, though. That's got to be my favourite lately.
It is a good grenade launcher.
It's just so handy when you're fighting a boss and can't get enough shots at him, so you just tag him with that and run back into cover, and tag him again and run back in.
It was actually really useful in the raid because you had all these rooms where ads were spawning out of, and you had enough trouble with the boss and his auto-aiming weapons that if you just dropped a few Wither Hordes at the spawn points, you could take out most of the ads. So definitely one. I was glad was back for the raid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so rewards. Fix an issue where prime attunements were not being applied properly after reaching the soft cap of 1200 power. Fixed an issue where the strange visitors emote from Seasonal of Arrival's silver bundle would no longer appear in Raoul's inventory. Updated the World Engram weapons board. Remove all weapons that hit their infusion cap at the end of the season. Added all of the 7th Seraph weapons from Season of the Worthy. Added all of the Season of Arrival's seasonal and planetary reprisal weapons. Set weight drop chances so that the newer item is the more likely to drop.
Have you guys seen the new Seventh Seraph stuff they dropped in? I mean, back in the submachine gun, and I think it was possibly the heavy machine gun.
Okay.
But now you can get the hand cannon, the assault rifle, as well, which are both really cool, and I think they look all right as well. So it's been good to be able to get something that, yes, it may have been old, but it kind of looks. It's good to have it back in again. You're not always using the same dire promise or anything like that. You can now start using some of the other previous season gear.
Nice. Bounties. Reduced number of bounties required for the new light quest from 3 to 1. Fixed an issue where combat drill bounties were requiring elimination defeats. They will now correctly require clash defeats. That would have been rough.
That is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
One, I just find it's really hard to find elimination games. I don't think anyone plays it.
Yeah, that people might play them right before Trials is on, but that's about it. Now,
Yeah, Friday night.
Yeah. Season. Fix an issue where players already have seasonal artifact, but the season quest does not progress. Fixed an issue where lure mods were duplicating. Fixed an issue where perk veto mods for the Cryptolith lure were not correctly preventing the excluded perks from rolling on the web. Fixed an issue where players already have the lure, but the lure quest doesn't progress.
Have you guys done much of the quest for Crow with the lure mods, etc.?
Only done
I
maybe.
got the lure.
Yeah, I've done 2 Wrathborn hunts, but they're both the first one. I did one just solo, and I helped G-Dad with his initial one, and that's as far as I've gone.
Yeah, okay. There are definitely a few videos worth just searching YouTube as to how to do the lure properly and get the best out of it, because it kind of feels like it's a bit of a half the chalice from Season of Opulence.
Yeah.
You can sort of get to the area of things you want to roll and what specs and traits you want to roll on it. And at the same time, you also need to upgrade it, kind of like the Umbral Engram machine that was next to the Drifter back in the previous season. So it's kind of cool. I like the concept. It's just another thing I have to add to my list of things to do each week.
Yeah.
But as you grind it out, then you have a better chance of getting some good loot. And it has on there where it can drop 2 powerfuls a week. I think you can upgrade that the better you go along. I'm not that far along the quest line of the lure at the moment, but I think it's possibly going to be another good adaptation.
Yeah.
The game.
All right, so that was the Hotfix 3.0.0.4.
I guess, do we just go on the fact there was no TWAB this week? So therefore...
yeah, I guess so.
So as for last week's report roundup, there hasn't been any new additions, but there has been a few tweets from Bungie and Cosmo. So I'll just go through those quickly. Bungie help. We've fixed an issue where completing the last call Forsaken mission didn't unlock access to the Tangle Shore. Players who are still experiencing issues should report to the help forum. Another one from Bungie. We've fixed an issue where deleting a character would reset some raid rewards. It's a bit of a shame. I know people were trying to do that quite a bit. Another one. As a result of our character raid reward fix, players who accessed the Deep Stone Crypt before the weekly reset and some who logged in between 9 a.m. to 5:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time yesterday can only require loot from the raid on 1 character this week. This issue will be resolved next Tuesday.
That's rough.
Yeah, it happens though. It happens. And unfortunately, you don't get any retroactive rewards. But next one, we're investigating an issue where the spoils caches in the Deep Stone Crypt Raid list incorrect armor or weapons rolls. Seems to be a lot of things to do with the raid.
Yeah.
And from Cosmo, I'm looking for more feedback on Season of the Hunt content. Hit me up with what you are enjoying and what you think could benefit from some changes. So not many things in the roundup this week. As we said, it was similar to, it hadn't changed since last week, but a few tweets to add to it. Mainly just filling in with what's been happening with the new raid and how people are enjoying the changes. And now we'll go to Andy for some console reminders.
So the console update happens on December 8th with the next-gen version of Destiny 2, which will continue to be free to play, meaning the PS5 and Xbox Series upgrades will be free as well. It's confirmed to have the following features: 60 FPS and 4K performance on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Series S will run at 1080p at 60 FPS. There'll be load time improvements, field of view slider support, intergenerational crossplay, so Xbox Series to Xbox One, PS5 to PS4, paid expansions, season passes, and silver carrying over between generations. It's again Xbox Series to Xbox One and PS5 to PS4. On the last point, this means, for example, if you're on PS4 now and buy an Xbox Series X or S, you can continue playing with your profile thanks to existing Destiny cross-save support. However, any expansions, season passes, or silver you've purchased on PS4 wouldn't carry over to Xbox or PC or Stadia, basically any platform outside of the PlayStation ecosystem, meaning you need to purchase them again or do without. However, in the case of expansions, they will be accessible if you have an Xbox Game Pass subscription on Xbox console.
So,
also on December... Oh, sorry, go. Yeah, go.
I'll say, can we touch on that then? As we're saying, I thought that when the expansion dropped, that we would be getting these 60 frames per second and 4K performance. So that hasn't been the case.
So that hasn't been the case. What I understood is that there was going to be a delay. I read that somewhere that all the U-Butte frames and everything nice wasn't going to launch with the consoles because I think they needed to apply some further updates or further testing or something like that. So they will be arriving on December 8th finally. So yeah, you can enjoy your nice expensive consoles that I can't afford until Night Demon decides to possibly pay me for this episode, but I don't see that happening.
Sorry, continue.
Okay. Also on December 8th is the first Iron Banner of Season of the Hunt. I know Night Demon will be he'll be waiting for that reset to just click over and he will be jumping on straight away.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is bringing a new quest to get your Iron Banner off to a start. And here are the steps for the new quest. So you have to get 10 zones, right? That's fairly easy to get. You have to kill 30 guardians. Over time, you'll get there. GDAD, void ability kills, you need 5. Part of quests shaped by iron. So the first part, shaped by iron. You have to defeat opponents, capture zones, and get void ability final blows in Iron Banner during Season of the Hunt. So that's what I previously mentioned. Part 2, no games, no sympathy. Complete matches, capture zones, and get energy weapon final blows in Iron Banner during Season of the Hunt. Part 3, paying respects. Defeat opponents, capture zones, and get scout rifle final blows in Iron Banner during Season of Part 4, a tower rebuilt. Defeat targets with your super, capture zones, and get hand cannon final blows in Iron Banner during Season. Part 5, raising the banner. Complete matches, capture zones, and get precision final blows in Iron Banner during Season of. Final step, from the mountaintop, return to Lord Salad.
Wouldn't it be cool if there was another mountaintop?
Yeah.
It's the last step is called From the Mountaintop, and they bring out a version.
As much as that would be cool, Bungie have just sunset that. There's no way they're going to bring that back.
I know.
It'd
be so
much
good.
Of a clue there.
Well, the mountaintop
weapons you're using.
Yeah, the mountain. In regards to the mountaintop, that just might be just because you've climbed the mountain of this quest kind of thing, and also, but who knows?
Usually, when you get a weapon quest like that, it'll give you'll get a clue as to what you're chasing.
Yeah,
you'll be using the same weapon throughout, and
that is true.
All over the shop.
Yeah, well, I guess they're just trying to expand it all, aren't they? I mean, this is only the start of the season, so who knows what's going to happen over time.
Yeah.
So for you guys who have an Amazon Prime account or know someone who has an Amazon Prime account, the Prime Gaming Rewards has released a new one for the month of November, December for Destiny 2 rewards. So if you access your Prime Gaming account, find the Destiny 2 rewards, claim those. These will then appear with Amanda Holiday. And the rewards this time around are there's a new exotic emote, which is quite cool, actually. I think it is. It's seasonal themed to Europa, so it chains you up in ice, and then you break out of the ice. The sparrow that you get is the Regal Howe exotic sparrow, which is from, I believe it's Season of the Undying, which is the one that looks like it's actually a Lord of Wool's shotgun. There's the exotic Transpose JT-24X exotic ship, which to me kind of looks like a flying mosquito, but that one's there in case those who like it. And there's a legendary archetype shell, legendary ghost shell, which is also available. So if you have, like we said, Prime Gaming, you can literally just log on, claim those rewards, go to Amanda Holiday, and have these unique exotic emblems exotic emotes and sparrows, etc., free to your account.
So we don't have Respawn here to rant. Maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. We know people kind of like that. So here's Llama's Lament.
Thank you, Andy. So I'd like to start off to say that I have actually enjoyed this expansion so far. I know some people haven't enjoyed it, but I enjoyed a lot of the new activities. But what I'm really not enjoying is I still find that I'm running out of these upgrade modules. I don't know if you guys are, but it's driving me nuts. Every time I get something good, I want to infuse it into some of my good armor that I've got masterworked. And yes, you get upgrade modules from the season pass, and you can get them from Banshee, but I just find there's not enough. I'm going through my Bright Dust, getting it from Eververse, purchasing those concentrated matter gems.
Yeah.
That is that consumable that lets you module drop. But I mean, you don't have a lot of the resources. I'm going through the resources that you get trying to purchase them off Banshee, and that besides it killing my resource gain, my glimmer is just going down like crazy. I'm finding that I'm going through glimmer now more than I ever did. I understand that the ghosts have these new mods that you can mod it up so that you can pick up more glimmer and even have a chance to get an upgrade module to drop from Gambit or Crucible or Strikes. But see, I put that on the mod to get the upgrade modules to drop, and I did 10 strikes and I got 1 to drop, and they were all pretty hard. And then on Gambit, I got 1 to drop maybe once every 2 hours. They could actually introduce that into the game with just an easy way to farm. I mean, they probably have, as it currently sits, there's multiple ways to get them, but I just find that the resources are what's letting me down. I don't have enough. Maybe I'm meant to have stockpiled them up like Demon does or something. I'm not sure. But I pretty much run through my Bright Dust like crazy. I don't know if you guys have any other ways to sort of work it out.
Not really. Like, I guess I got to a stage where I'd go to infuse something, I'd look and I wouldn't have enough material, so I'd literally just went to Banshee and just bought a bunch, but I haven't needed as many. I guess I'm trying not to infuse as much. I just whack on a blue if it's higher. I'll only infuse if I've got armor that's maybe 10 higher, or if I need to be higher with certain gear in a particular activity. Otherwise, I'm just chucking blues on. I don't care too much about it, but there needs to be something done because it's something that we require to continue growing in the game. We need access.
Because the other side of that, which I agree with you, you could either just stick on the legendary that you get or the blue that you get, but I mean, part of me, I've never really been into the fashion side of it, but part of me likes to wear a set of something, or you've put effort into getting a masterwork set of armor. And then now, that armor is almost not obsolete, but you start the game and the blues that are dropping are better. And so you start putting those on till you get to the soft cap, and then you start infusing, I did, back into your good sets of armor so that you can start getting the perks, like getting double 100 rolls on things in your mobility or your recovery and stuff like that. Whereas if you just put on the stuff that keeps dropping, you'd spend probably more resources trying to get them up to a level where you can just insert a few mods. And then the other thing I found that they've changed this time round, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but previously seasons, to masterwork a piece of armor, you needed 1 Ascendant Shard. And this time round, you need 3 Ascendant Shards to go from level 9 to level 10.
That's
which
crazy.
I think it is crazy, especially considering that the only way you can still get Ascendant Shards is either through the season pass, where I think you get 1, or you have to farm high-level Nightfalls. And you're not going to be getting such good stuff from powerful drops and pinnacles that's random gear to then go in to do a Legend or Master Nightfall to get a chance to drop these Ascendant Shards. I mean, why can't they, if they've made these heroic lost sectors where you can get heroic gear, why can't they have a chance that you also get a chance to get the exotic shard instead, an Ascendant Shard, as opposed to the exotic engram or whatever the gear is, just because they're easier to run, especially solo.
I feel like there needs to be some activity. There might be, I don't know, I maybe you have not found it, but that at least one character all 3 characters once a week will receive 100% of the time. Like 3 a week, it's not game breaking, but it helps the individual.
But that would have helped a lot when in the previous season it was 1 Ascendant Shard would master.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
you can masterwork 1 item a week.
1 item a week.
Yeah, like if it were
1 character though. That's the other thing. I mean, I can remember last season doing Pits of Heresy runs because they were quick and easy. You get a masterwork bit of Dreambane gear and you scrap that, get the exotic prism, so the enhanced prisms.
Yeah.
And then you did that on 3 characters in the week and you got 18 prisms. You could then buy 1 exotic Ascendant Shard a week. And then obviously when they were doing double Nightfall rewards, you had a lot higher chance of, if you had a good team or a good couple of people, you could run in, do the Nightfall really quickly and get a chance of getting 2 Ascendant Shards. Like that aspect was really cool. But as it's a new season, it seems now to be able to try and get those high level Nightfalls, you need to have been playing for a little bit longer. And I just think that grind aspect, maybe whether it's been thought of properly, because it's new, it hasn't been maybe assessed as best.
I feel like one way to fix it is if you want the Nightfalls, if you want to choose that activity to do it in, but maybe you can get 2 to 3 per character per week. That's the max that you'll get 100 guaranteed, but there's still the normal chance that it has now on top of that.
Yeah,
so people have the option to keep farming if they'd like.
If they're going to triple the amount that you need to masterwork something, then they almost need to affect somehow or increase the chances of finding them. Otherwise, this season's going to become a lot longer. And I know you store them up. I mean, I started this season with 10.
Yeah, I've still got 10 as well.
But I went through them really quickly, and it was accidental. Before I knew it, I was masterworking something, and then I saw, as it was just turning yellow that I'd masterworked it, that cost me 3 Ascendant Shards as opposed to 1. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to use them in that exotic kiosk as well, so you have to use those shards in there.
Oh, yeah, you do.
So you can burn through them pretty quickly now. So they almost need to be something that maybe it's not dropping around the world frequently where everyone's just going to have every exotic around.
Yeah, but how is a new light guardian meant to get an exotic out of that kiosk?
Exactly. If they're trying to get more people back into this game or new people into the game, you need to have some sort of appeal.
They're pushing
it's like
for experienced guys.
Yeah, it's like
Step.
they with one arm they're bringing people in and the other they're pushing them away.
Yeah,
It's like it feels it's like what Respawn or what others have always said, that they're catering to the YouTubers, and that's not that. Yeah, the YouTubers bring people to the game, but the people that are brought to the game need to be able to have a good experience as well.
you need to retain people.
Yeah,
Yeah, retention
Yeah.
rate's massive as well, which is
Yeah.
also why they do a lot more new content, I think, to try and keep you in.
Yeah.
Because, you get the YouTubers and stuff, or some of the guys that did the raid race, they got themselves up to 1260 before the raid started.
yeah,
Yes, they'll drop back to 1230, but then after that one day, they go back into the open world and they're just way too powerful for everything. And so they almost go, well, I don't need to play for a while. There's not going to be any new cool stuff for me because I don't have to go.
And I get it. The Bungie are stuck between a rock and a hard place because they bringing in new stuff to retain the players that are currently in, but bringing in that new stuff then deters people from joining in because everything's so far ahead and they need to catch up.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I get it. They're in a tough spot, but
that was one of the reasons why they did the Destiny content vault, because I got one friend who hadn't played before, jumped in the previous season, and he told me there was 32 like messages that popped up on his screen of all these places he had to go and people he had to visit, and it almost instantly turned him away, which I understand in this new one for New Light. You can't get to that area without doing the Cosmodrome intro first, like building you up slowly.
I still need to do that. I really need to do that just for the memories.
Yeah.
I did that just so I'd
level up.
Some leveling up. So
Yeah.
I could actually do some of the content there. And
yeah.
But yeah, you get to the tower. Even so, you've still got 10 people to see at the tower.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to go here, then there, then here, then there, yeah.
But I guess at least they've made it to just make it each checkpoint. So you talk to someone and then you come like.
Yeah.
I guess like we said, it's the start of the first season. This one's going to be around for a while. See how it goes. They've got time to make changes, buff things where they need to. But yeah, I would personally like to just see either some way to get upgrade modules easier, even if they just increase that drop rate on the mod for your ghost, that like once every 3 to 5 games you get one, because they're only worth 200 bright dust, so it's not as if they're ascendant shard. But to play 10 games and get one to drop, and it didn't matter if you're winning or losing, like that just seems like it's a perk or a mod slot in your ghost that it's taking up, and it's not a cheap one. It's like worth 4 or 5 slots that it doesn't have a high chance of dropping. I mean, the extra legendary item, a mod that you can attach to things, drops nearly every single time.
Yeah, wow.
And so that's a really good one, because it doesn't have to be a powerful piece or anything, but it's still a piece that you might go, oh, I haven't got that, or that's a better one than the current one.
Does that legendary item cost bright dust?
No.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, if it did, then that's where they're trying to go.
No, but that's what I mean. So it's just one of the mods for your ghost.
Okay,
that if you put that in, that one might be for Gambit. So it says at the end of a Gambit match, you have a increased chance of getting an extra legendary item. Okay. Yeah. So you apply that when you're playing Gambit. So I've got 4 different ghosts I swap when I'm playing Gambit or Crucible or Strikes. So I don't have to keep swapping mods in and out. But you just swap the ghost. So if I'm going to do Strikes, I know that at the end of this, I'm going to get some extra loot.
Yeah.
Which I can just destroy for shards or whatever, or it might turn out that it's a better one of an older weapon that I haven't used, and I can infuse it up, just costing Glimmer, to get like a 1230 or 1240 or whatever version of that weapon.
Yeah,
which is always a good thing, which saves you having to use an upgrade module. So yeah, like I said, that'd be something I'd like to see if they could do that somehow. I mean, they've got the heroic lost sectors or legendary lost sectors, whatever you want to call them, which are already have a chance of dropping exotic loot if you play solo. Maybe just add an aspect that instead of it dropping the exotic helmet or something. If you didn't get the helmet, you have a higher chance of getting a shard, which still will come in handy for people. Because if you're doing those lost sectors, you're already at that point where you're starting to look towards those high powerfuls, high pinnacle stuff. Anyway, that's my Llama's Lament.
It was good. I feel like quite mellow, which is good. You don't need to be on Respawn's level. No one is on Respawn's level. It was, I feel like it was a good enough level.
I'm not going to scream and get myself cut off by the technology.
No.
Technology.
No.
Do you have any gripes, Bordo? You want to go through?
No, not really. And I think if I tried, I'd just robot out badly. So
yeah, true. All right, so I might introduce the lore now. I guess is that where we're up to now?
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time for Not Half-Assed Lore featuring Ender13, myself.
Do we have any questions on the lore in general that you want to ask before we actually start?
Like I said, the only thing that I was unsure about was the actual dreadnought still kind of being utilized by the hive. I wasn't sure because we left there. I didn't know the whole story of the dreadnought still going, I guess.
To be fair, we didn't
being operational
actually leave. We just withdrew. We left everything else that was still there. Every time you went into the dreadnought, there were still enemies around.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of why that's still, well, it's not a playable space at the moment, but in the lore, it is still a place to go.
Okay.
Now, I know Respawn has so many questions about Clovis Bray.
Yeah.
Now, the Clovis Bray that we have been dealing with in Destiny all this time, I'm not going to recall. Well, he's already come out and said who it is, or nearly said who it is, but I'm not going to release that. What I will say is, he's not the Clovis Bray. He is Clovis Bray.
Yeah.
He is Clovis Bray's Exo.
Yeah.
But
when
he was downloaded,
Clovis Bray within the story, didn't we? Or is that still not him either?
In the story, we have met him. We met the AI that runs the whole facility on Europa. Literally is run by an AI that is actually Clovis Bray with all his memories. Now the Exo,
it's just his memories uploaded, but it's not actually him. It's just kind of
he's pretty when all that's going on, he's pretty much comatose.
Okay.
They would have done the brain scan, so it is his brain with all his memories as the AI that runs the facility. Now the Exo itself is Clovis Bray's brain. His basic characteristics, but without the memories that makes him Clovis Senior.
Okay. Yeah.
So over the time working with Elsie Bray on the facility as the Exo, that's how he developed his personality, and which is why he makes himself considerably different to Clovis Bray Senior. It's a similar thing if we were ever to find Cade. The original Cade, the man that is Cade, not the Exo. If we're ever to find him,
a completely different person.
He would, because he wouldn't have the experiences that Cade 6 had.
Okay.
So that's the best way to understand it.
Are we thinking that the actual Clovis is extremely evil, and the Exo is obviously just a normal kind of standard person?
He's Clovis Senior has been corrupted by the darkness in his quest for immortality. That's the best way to describe it. And if you've read the Dark Future lore book, which explains where the Exo Stranger is actually from, where the darkness wins, you'll see how people over time get corrupted by it.
Okay.
So going into the lore, this is another piece of, or the lore we're going to cover tonight. This is the lore book called, or the web lore called Immolant Part 1 and Part 2. Now, I'm just going to summarize Part 1 because it is quite a good deal there. And basically, it's all about Osiris and what he's done with Sagira. Basically, he doesn't know what to do. Zavala wants him to stay in the tower, and Osiris believes there's something else going on. He's not quite sure what it is, but he wants to go and investigate. Zavala's not interested in going to investigate, so basically he says to Osiris, if you're convinced there's something going on, go and find me concrete proof. Because basically all Zavala's resources are facing off against Eramis in the darkness. Now, so off he goes. He goes round trying to find the missing worlds. So he goes to Mars. Now, everything is still there. You've still got Mars's moon. Is it Phobos and Deimos?
Yeah.
They are still there. They're still orbiting something, but Mars itself is gone. Now, it's believed it's a similar thing to what Asher Mir studied when he shot the pyramid when it arrived on Io. That basically it's still there, but it's being held in a different. I can't quite remember how they actually worded it, but it's just outside our field of vision,
kind of like
maybe
in a void.
In a void space, yeah, that's possibly the best way to do it. Now he goes around all the planets, and they're all like this. So he knows they're still there because the gravitational field is still there to hold all the moons in orbit. Now it goes off, and there's quite a bit of discussion between Sagira and basically she's still questioning Osiris on his relationship with Saint, because Osiris has written him a load of poems and hasn't actually given them to him yet.
See, I feel like it'd be nice to have a whole lore section of just that relationship, because a lot of people are not aware of that. So many.
Well, it's been hinted at since Osiris came back.
Yeah.
The biggest hint of all became in the prophecy dungeon. I actually shared a video with Night Demon and Respawn and Parody to actually say that it was a voice line, and that basically said between Eris and the Drifter saying, "Oh, where's Osiris?" And it's basically, well, where do you think he's going to be? He's been missing for so many hundreds of years. They're all shacked up together in a hotel room somewhere, basically, which is the long and short of it.
Yeah.
But then this is the concrete evidence. This the Immolant Part 1 is the concrete evidence they're actually having a relationship. There's a bit of discussion about Mara in there as well. Oh, and then Sagira actually sends the poems to Saint 14. Then he goes to see Anna Bray. And I'll just read you this bit quickly. You've been busy. Osiris takes in Anna's hastily assembled workshop, located within the partition between the tower and the city. Tools and schematics litter the room. Talking to me or yourself? Anna asks as she rolls out from beneath a disassembled Exo chassis. Hard to tell sometimes, she says, standing. It's been too long, Anna. You don't visit often, she glances over her shoulder, except to point fingers. I suppose we've both been busy. I'm glad to see you're back in the tower. Anna rolls her jaw. I guess we have to stop running sometime. Osiris looks at the Exo chassis. Do we? What are you here for, Osiris? Looking to make another mess for me to clean up? When the Warmind was overtaken, did you notice a resonant tone in a darkness attack like this? Osiris asks and plays a waveform recording of the lighthouse's song. I was a little preoccupied, but I didn't hear anything suspicious. Tones. You experienced the darkness assault firsthand. Instead of using that experience, you dredged up the dead. Osiris content only if he alone could play a god. Anna swipes, a wielding torch from a nearby workbench. You should meet up with Callus. You two would get along. Run the tones through your database. If your pet project has any related information, I'll run it. The words sarcastically fall out of Anna's mouth as she slides back under the Exo and ignites the torch. Her solar fingers snap. Next time you want to drop in, use the ghost vine instead. So those two obviously don't really like each other there.
Yeah, is there a story behind that? Because I haven't seen anything within the game.
Only in some previous web lore it was actually a cutscene, sorry, where basically Osiris stomps into, basically points an accusing finger at Rasputin and confronts him.
Yes. Okay.
Was that what season was that?
Offense to that. I think that was the last or prior season, because that was that when Osiris kind of confronted Rasputin, or was it prior to?
It was, yeah. He stomped into the Warmind vault and basically pointed fingers at him, saying, "You're not on our side, or whose side are you on?"
Yeah, it was fairly recent. I just can't. All the seasons blend in together for me now.
Yeah, I'm struggling to keep up. To be honest, I'm not even up to full level yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that leaves us then on to part 2, entitled Born of Wrath. Sagira patches a strand of light into the jump ship's control deck as they tumble through the black drop, stars twinkling out beyond reach. Something's in the static out there. What is it? Osiris asks. Some kind of subspace transmission. Hang on. Sagira boosts the jump ship's comm receiver. It's Cabal. Osiris absent-mindedly pushes a sack of candy corn aside with his foot and leans forward. From somewhere outside the system. Some pretty heavy encryption at work, but there's a repeated phrase, a name. Keitel? How many Cabal leaders still vie for domination atop Gaul's grave? Let them grind each other into dust. There were responses from Nessus, the Reef, and the EDZ. She's calling the Legion home, or no, back to her bosom. She wants them to capture Callus to prove their loyalty, but it sounds like the Leviathan is missing. Their bloody feud continues. If Keitel is stirring up the Legion, the Vanguard will want to know their plans. One of the response signals is offering Keitel tribute from somewhere near Sorik's Cut, some other weird noise too. This message here, Osiris says as he points to an on-screen readout of Sagira's scans. Keitel sends an emissary to receive their tribute. Sure, we're not far behind, Sagira says. Eavesdropping or crashing? We'll hit them after the offering is made. I don't want the Cabal Empire to know we're tapping into their communications. A horde of Cabal crowd into a crude shelter, assembled from several decommissioned drop pods. Green light shines through the cracks. A royal blue banner of Cabal make lay cast in squalid, bubbling mud. Sagira and her guardian survey the scene, perched on the fallen ruins high above the boil. The bulk of the evening is spent silent. The only exception, Sagira's repeated affirmations. They're still just huddled around that rock. Patience is a virtue, Sagira. Cyrus closes his eyes to the reef sky and waits for signals to the guest at the darkness's plan. The stars watch all the weight of jet black space upon him. He is extinguished among their light years. Screams in the night. Cyrus stirs awake, his eyes open onto the nebulous drift of the shore. Sagira, report. They're still in there. 18 life signs, no shots, no one's even moved. I don't like it. Tired hours flit by. Morning rises. There are no Cabal skirmishes against the Scorn, no metallurgists patching phalanx shields with molten slag, or scion lookouts tracing firing lines. They're on the move. Sagira leers over the edge of their perch. The escape latch on the frontal pod dome bursts open and slams against the pod wall. 10 leave. 9 unsteady forms in dull red, 1 vivid blue. They disperse out into the shore. Osiris rubs his eyes. Finally, though through the cracks he sees them. The remaining rig of Cabal kneel in a tightly wrapped circle. A stony protrusion centers them. What is that stone's constitution, he asks. Pretty stoic, I'd say. Sagira. This reeks of suspicion. Oh, you're right. And I hate saying that. A moment passes as the tiny ghost directs a long-range sensor to the stone. Oh, it's not a rock. It's hive, biological. Osiris floats down to the acrid pool's feather light. Sagira follows close behind. He bounds through the open pod door. A celestial flame dances in each palm. 8 Cabal sit dormant. The Cabal huddle round the protrusion. Their massive bodies form a bulwark of trembling flesh. A soulfire pitch blisters through their turgid pressure suits. They are fixated, bulged eyes, rabid and screaming of rancor. Frontal plating blighted by hive barnacle growths. Hands tightly grip their throats. Slug rifles lay prostrated before the idol. Osiris steps among them without their notice and lowers his hands. Sagira breaks the Cabal perimeter to scan the protrusion. Creepy. They don't even notice us. Keep those Spitfires ready, she turns to Osiris. This is the most vascular rock I've ever scanned. Osiris peers into the hive protrusion. Metallic flecks shimmer, and he sees a long and empty road. Meandering, he wishes to plant a great banner over it so they may see it, a beacon alight with phoenix flame. Looming in the nascent flame light hangs the terrace of blades. The terrace dominates the road. Its precipice at his throat, he raises the dawn blade to meet them. Rupturing cacophony ravages his senses. I am the war you crave. Purpose eternal, a legacy in blood. It's full of soulfire veins. Sagira's voice is wind to Osiris. She nudges him.
When you draw blades, you draw me.
You hear the whisper. Osiris's words slur.
You cannot resist without invoking my banner.
You're hearing something. Sagira floats near him.
Embrace me, light bearer, and be a god of death.
Whispers, his mind clouds. One of the Cabal stands and turns to Osiris. Snap out of it. They're waking up, Sagira says, and decompiles out of danger.
Consume or be consumed.
The Cabal trundles forward. Osiris billows incineration. The blaze cooks the interior of the pod. Kneeling Cabal break free of their trance and stand in the scalding air. One of the remaining 7 fall immediately to a hail of celestial firebolts. Osiris grounds himself and unleashes a cascade of arc across the mass of lumbering legionaries. Lightning bends inwards against the pod's magnetic shielding. He holds the storm on them until pressure gel hisses and spits from the suits. Osiris exhales, their smouldering bodies invade his nostrils. The scene clarifies. Horror, scorch, and char. Sagira.
One thing with that, do we know what that hive biological object is? Have we heard it like in the past?
What I can tell, reading on some other lore, it's a growth of Xivu or Wrath to basically draw people to him.
And does it like feed off their energy?
Basically, by creating war, he can take tribute from that because he's the god of war. This goes back to the 3 hive gods and their natures. So you have Oryx, who was the great navigator, and he chose to navigate death. And that was his nature. So he had to do that. You've still got Savanthan, who is Savanthan of the Keen Mind, who basically uses trickery to actually get what she wants, and that is her nature. Now, Xivu or Wrath was basically he was a knight. He wanted to be a knight, and basically he is the high war, basically the god of war. So he will just come straight out and literally fight you.
Yeah. Okay.
Codependent. You ready to tell me what that was all about? Sagira asks. She hovers just in front of the jump ship's control deck, piloting. I wish I could. I remember tracking Keitel's emissary, finding the Cabal, the night sky, then flame and rage. It took everything for me to push those thoughts from my mind. Osiris slumps in his seat. There is one clear memory. I felt the dark whisper that we've been chasing, like a needle in my spine. It must be at the root of all of this. Old words from the past ring in his ears. Soon the city won't need men like us, lone wolves, Osiris. We die. Make sure when your end comes, it's something worth your light. Okay, Sakira says. The concern is thick in her voice, but she buries it. I sent out scans, long range, short range, anywhere that has prominent hive presence. There's no way this is isolated to the reef. Petra. How were we so blind, Osiris muses? The hives swell in darkness as guardians run to Europa. The warning fell between her words, and I did not see it. That's enough moping. We're on this early. Maybe it's a good thing. I can't pull the Vanguard's eyes from Europa. With hazy recollection and guesses, they have just begun to see me again, and trust is so thin. Resonance pings blips onto the ship's monitor, catching Osiris's attention. Signals from your scans. The moon. That's a much stronger signal than one we found near Sorik's Cut. Osiris shifts and raises his head. Maybe you're right about our timing. We can end this before it begins. It's a suicide mission into a hellmouth. You're in no condition. Recuperate and we'll talk. Open a channel to Eris. I've been trying. She's not answering. Then we go to her. Osiris stews in thought. Sagira's words are true. He is bleary from lack of sleep. Then turn around. Osiris, I already sent everything we have to Petra and the Vanguard. I'm taking us to Earth. Whatever we are dealing with is spreading throughout the system's underbelly. There is no one on the shore who knows these pathways. Surely I'm not too fragile to have a conversation, Sagira. I'm sure there are plenty of people in the tower who would just be as helpful. Osiris glares at her. I am not some doddering invalid. He grabs the flight sticks. Turn around or I will. This spider guy better have answers, Sagira says. From what I've heard, it is just a matter of how persuasive we are, Osiris says, and follows the Elixni associate through plum curtains and into the spider's abode. The massive don of the shore lounges before them. Welcome, most esteemed Osiris. Though you have not graced my chamber before, your reputation precedes you. Spider trellises his 8 fingers together as his voice breaks into a series of gaseous staccato slurps. The literature you sent me, very interesting, but behind the times. Spider chuckles. I already have top men working on these. Cryptoliths. His associates rush around the edges of the room. Cargo exchanges hands at a frantic pace. Osiris follows their movements. A decorated associate approaches the spider and waits at his side. What is it, Ara? You know better than to interrupt our guest audience. Ara glances to Osiris before quickly speaking in Elixni. Spider slams down a meaty fist, then go find it. Spider turns back to Osiris as Ara scuttles away. Apologies. Business interruptions in the aftermath of these. He gestures half-heartedly upwards. Trying times. He stifles a cough and clutches at his ether rebreather. Cabal aren't the only ones having troubles, eh? Sagira asks and jets in front of Osiris. You know I speak Elixni, right? She plays a snippet of Cabal distress transmissions and orders from Keitel scouts to lock down encampments. She displays images of slaughter, graves, and empty Cabal fortifications. If it's hitting them this hard, your associates must be, what's the phrase, dropping like flies? Wise as Cyrus and his brilliant little light, Spider muses. Sagira, the Geo corrects. Of course you are. I see no reason why this can't be a mutually beneficial partnership. As Cyrus steps forward, what matter do you need addressed, Spider? Sovereign of the shore. Spider giddily laps up the title. I know the cryptoliths are of the hive. I know the broods here burn Oryx's banners, and I know his worm's skeleton, the one in Saturn's rings, is awake. Spider throws his forearms into a shrug. My jurisdiction ends at the banks of the shore, and of course, but not yours.
So with that sec, I was just going to ask, with the broods burn Oryx's banners, does that mean they're against Oryx, or are they burning it in a way in support? Or
basically, Savantan tried to unite Oryx's and Crota's broods to her banner with trickery, and it hasn't worked. So basically, they are now burning Oryx's banners because they believe him dead.
Okay.
And now what they're saying is his worm skeleton in the Saturn's rings is awake, which is
referring
disturbing.
to the dreadnought.
No. Well, you got to remember there was Oryx and Oryx's worm.
Yeah.
We killed them both.
Okay, yeah.
They're in the they went last time they were seen, they were going out into the rings of Saturn.
Okay.
And basically what Spider says is, and I know his worm skeleton, the one in Saturn's rings, is awake. So that's quite disturbing there, because basically we turned Oryx's heart into a touch of malice. So
They
all
really
the time
need to bring that weapon back, by the way. That was really nice weapon.
All this time we have been killing with Oryx and potentially feeding his worm. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the way the hive they gain power from killing. So the more they kill, the more the hive kill, the more power they get. So then it's
know that us Guardians can't help but use a nice shiny weapon.
Exactly that. So if you imagine the hive as one great big pyramid scheme and Oryx was at the top, all that killing energy travels upwards.
Yeah.
So potentially all this time we've been feeding. Well, that's how it would have worked, but in this case, because they believed he was died, all the tithe went to whoever was in charge. But in this case, with that gun, we were actually feeding the worm. You know how much we, like you said, we like a shiny bit of loot, and
it's like
what we do to get it.
There was the direct connection to him, so we'll directly
feed him and his worm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know how they're going to bring that into the rest of the story, or what actually that has to do with the story, is it? Because that's the first mention of it. It's been theorized that Oryx isn't dead for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about Oryx, just his worm.
You see, I feel like he probably is or was dead, but like you said, through feeding him, it's kind of bringing him back or rebirthing or some
potentially
kind of process.
It's like we've been feeding Zol with the Whisper of the Worm.
Yeah. The hive know us too well.
Yes, they do. Osiris impales a wizard's head upon a stunted spike. Surrounded by a freshly bloodied hive sigil, the dreadnought consul splutters to life, accepting his tithe. That line there just explains quite happily what I mean. The tithe, the power by killing. Basically, he sacrificed that wizard to that console, and that console, because it's part of Akka, the worm god, he's gone, okay, yeah, you can use me. You've just given me some power.
Yeah.
While Cade's old transmat zone is no longer in operation, the massive breach left by the Dantalian Exodus 6's impact remains agape. Entry had not been difficult despite the halls crawling with newly spawned thrall. They were young, and nearly a century of navigation through the infinite forest had honed Osiris's ability to remain unseen. The dreadnought systems present as a living memory, chronicles and hymns recounting histories. It is a rat king of fading ideas, racked with failing connections and dying interpretations as Akka suffers a slow and final death. Damage beyond repair, but there is knowledge to glean here. Osiris directs Segura to rip spokes of data from the console for Vanguard High Command. You found the most disgusting one. I'm not touching that. Dictate it to me. Osiris sneers and grasps the head. He navigates the recounting of the hide from Oryx's death. They are fractured, broken by internal power struggles. It leads into recounting of Savanthan, banished, branded as a heretic and set to burn. Many hive turned to her when Oryx fell. Many of these same bloodlines defected as darkness invaded Sol, sending Savanthan into hiding. She's still haunted by the hounds of war. Her pursuer has no local story to recount here, for it is yet to be written in blood. War's celebrant rides to wrest Crota's lost foundlings from the Witch Queen's schemes, to bring unity, to bring reckoning, to bring glory. Luna will be reformed in her image. All tithes to Xivu Urath, all tithes to the black edge of her singing blade.
I am the din of rapture. I am the herald of peace. My banner is known to you.
Zivu-Orath, Osiris says. Words spoken on compulsion. He takes his hand from the wizard's head as emerald smoke wafts from its orifices. Osiris slumps to his knees. This must be the echo we've been chasing, an omen of her voice resounding through the darkness, heralding war. A hive war god. This is bad, Sakira says. The third sister. She has finally come for us, and her champion seeks to support Crota's remaining daughters on Luna. That is where we go. Into the chasm on Luna, they follow the trail of signals down into an enduring abyss, through the nightmares of so many. He stands at the face of it for what seemed like hours, the great angular thing, the edge of night that plays behind his mind. Speechless? Sakira teases. Maybe they're not so bad. Her chuckle is thin. They press on. Cyrus swipes away the silken threads of webbing above the shadow of Luna's pyramid. Braziers illuminate a synod of witches and wizards deep in the chasm. All point in alignment towards a monolithic sigil of Zivu-Orath set atop a cryptolith adorned in blades. Her will projected from some far-off, unseen cosmic hollow. At the base of her visage, a monstrous knight adorned with tapestries charged by scorching brand. There it is, Osiris whispers. Along with the entire Scarlet Court, Sagira's voice crackles. Crota's remaining children and their spawn can be destroyed in one fell swoop. What is it with you and suicidal ideas? We can't transmat out of here. They won't just kill you, they'll rip out your light, Osiris. They're all here, Sagira, in one place. You're worth more than a bunch of hive nobles. Wait for backup. Let me go topside and call for help. No, we stop this now. Halt her here. Osiris looks to the convocation below. It's decided. You can't just decide that. Osiris turns to Sagira. Go for help, but I can't wait for the vanguard. I'll see you soon with reinforcements. If you're going, I'm going. She decompiles safely beneath his armor. It is decided. Together, they make war on the hive. Solar wings combust from Osiris's back. In each hand he wields a blade of dawn. The calamity of his inferno sends the hive scattering in every direction. Voshir and her two daughters, Yishra and Iriax, turn to confront the Phoenix. They are ashen before their first incantations complete. He paints the scene apocalyptic. 15 noble blood are reduced to cinders before the defense is mounted. Laughter like clashing swords. Osiris sails through the air as daggers of dark power whistle past him. Golden echoes split from his body to cut down fleeing hive and soak reprisals. Kynox, last daughter of Crota, scurries through the cracks between the rocks as her son, Ulgurin, and his cohort of lesser knives raise shields to defend her. Osiris extinguishes a blade into his palm to form a singularity of void and hurls a nova bomb that consumes them. With his other hand he dives. He crashes into the ground, erupting a well of radiance surrounded by a phalanx of gilded echoes. Nobles shriek at their thralls to charge. Bolts of flame and arc tear through them as Osiris blinks through the void from one to another to another. Their advance breaks. He steps over their smouldering husk and turns the blaze towards their masters. Osiris revels in the slaughter. Zivu-Orath's sigil drinks in his fervour. The nobles' deaths. Laughter like screaming fear. Her visage emboldens. The celebrant waits at the foot of Zivu-Orath's cryptolith, unburnt. Osiris echoes, reconvene into him. Face me, he exclaims and steps forward. Zivu-Orath's visage emits a shockwave that thunders through the chasm. It rips away Osiris's well and throws him across the stone floor. His back slams up against the cliff face behind him. What is this? Shock punctuates the question. He pulls against the unseen force, but to no avail.
You burn offerings. I accept them.
Zivu-Orath's will crushes the pressure of his light, seals the flames into his flesh, stakes his body to the stone on the paralytic pins. Her image distorts into a concave canvas around him. The celebrant at its core. Shadows encroach him, dousing the borders of his power. Osiris focuses his mind on the spark at his core. Flames billow from within. Countless gilded echoes ripple from him, testing Xivu's hold, pressing vulnerabilities. The sun sings to repel the shadow. He finds a moment, wrenches a hand free, unleashes the reach of chaos. The beam of arc tears through the Xivu's sigil. Soulfire shards rocket away as the crack fork through Xivu's projection. Unfazed, she does not relent.
Resist me, Lightbearer.
Her will overcome him, stronger than before. The celebrant steps forward, a massive cleaver dangles from its hand, weightless. The beast carves a rune into the stone on either side of Osiris. Its eyes locked with his. It nods to him, and then it turns the sigil. All ties to Xivu-Arath, war dominant, endless. Its tone is soft rasp and soot. The runes kindle in the harlequin green. Osiris, Sagira's voice statics in his ear. One of us has to make it out. Warn them. I'm sorry, Sagira. Run. His words are thin from duress. The celebrant drives its sword into the cliffside above Osiris's head. The cryptolith erupts in neon flare. Die well, Osiris. The celebrant bows and withdraws from sight into Luna's depths. Wisps of light hemorrhage through his skin, trimmed in blood and drawn around the blade and embedded it above him, as if it was a Nostophine's spike. Sagira's voice is a whisper. I'm not letting them take you. Your strength lives on through me. With Saint my private drive, Osiris exhales and closes his eyes. He sees himself in a million permutation, each path a life in glimpse. He takes what he can from them, not enough to savor, but enough to be immortalized in a nostalgic haze. In one, he is a blazing warrior, driving back the horrors of the longest nights. Another, he is a vigiled gargoyle atop the infinite forest, a grizzled elder overseeing keen disciples. In so many, he is dead. But there is one where Osiris finds happiness. He finds a time away from strife. He finds Saint, a dream warm serenity. The peace is to his purpose. With Saint, there is a future that could have been enough. So many unveiled moments lost between calls to action. He wishes Sagira had not come to watch him die. His faithful companion, his guiding starlight, his hopes, his humanity. Sagira, for as many lives as we had, you were always my better. His light is breaking. Osiris, why don't you ever listen to me? She compiles in front of him. What a... Shut up. Listen to my words. Her iris is bright with light. There are great things still left for you. Don't lose hope in the darkness. She is luminant. Osiris breathes the word as if she could hold it back. No. He would understand in time. She had seen it. Blinding light erupts from Sagira's core as she splits apart. A wave of light surges across the chasm. Her sacrifice cleanses every trace of Xivu-Arath's presence. The sigil erased, the cryptolith that supported her projection destroyed. Osiris draws breath alone. The aegis of Sagira's light stands strong in the shadow of the pyramid for days.
There was a lot in that. So, Ursula, can we get an exotic from Osiris that allows us to dual wield flaming swords?
That then goes straight into a Nova Warp and then straight into a Well of Radiance and then throw out a Chaos Reach as well, just for good measure.
That might be a bit too overpowered. So how about two exotics? One allows you to dual wield swords. The other one allows you to cycle through your supers after each other. That'd be interesting.
That would... This just proves how powerful Osiris actually was.
Yeah. Wow.
And it just makes you think we've got to face that celebrant soon.
Yeah. See, the question I have in regards to our ghosts, I'm sure this has been answered in the past. I'm just not aware of it myself. If our ghost dies, we obviously cannot then come back. If we die, can our ghost be replaced by another ghost? It's
been thought at for a while. It's it's known that Jaren Ward's ghost actually travels with Shin Malfur.
Okay.
It's not been said whether it can resurrect him, but they are companions.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, that is all we know on that one. Whether they can actually resurrect another Guardian, possibly, because we resurrect other people in game.
Hopefully we find out eventually.
Yes. Now, there's one bit here that basically by doing all what Osiris did there by fighting all of the hive, just empowered Zevor Wrath.
So that celebrant
By all that killing, empowered Zevor Wrath and the celebrant and made them stronger.
Because you've completed the Osiris mission, have you, or not?
I've started it. I've done the first parts of it, and I'm just back at Osiris now.
With that mission, is that the celebrant in that mission, the giant Black Knight?
That giant hive, is the celebrant because you actually see it on in the celebrant of Zevor Wrath.
Okay, because that gives me, for some reason, between it gives me War Priest vibes, just of the kind of shape and size of the celebrant, and also a mix between War Priest and what's his name from the forest? Chad, yes. I get a mix between those two, which is terrifying.
If he's anything like Chad that just appears behind you and tries to hit you with an axe, that's going to be absolutely terrifying.
It is. It is.
Is it the unbeatable champion or something, or undefeatable champion?
Yeah.
Better known as Chad. But that gives everyone a better idea of the seriousness of what we're up against going into Season of the Hunt. This is why I said to Respawn, read this lore, it will give you a better idea. And then I he was absolutely gutted because I killed off one of his favorite. Well, I didn't personally, but one of his favorite characters was killed off.
I'm sure he blames you for it, though. You are the one that killed her off. Yeah.
Apparently, I've got to stop doing it to him.
That raid was enjoyable. It's good to know more about what's coming as well. Like, because a lot of the lore is in the game. Yeah. Finally, the lore's tying in with what we're actually getting involved in now or in the near future, which is good. It's not just in the past.
The lore has always tied into what we were doing. It's just so much more accessible now than it previously was.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess prior to you being there and actually telling the lore on the podcast, I didn't have much involvement in the lore whatsoever. So I'm happy that I've got you there to tell me the stories of the game.
Hey, I'm not the first one. Oh, and I'd just like
my first one.
I'd just like to say to Respawn is that I didn't find the information about Clovis Bray and the Exo Clovis Bray. That was Blue Crew 86. He is one of the top lore guys in the community, and he found that. Not I can't claim credit for that. I think he actually went to he's done a few bits with Myling Games and even Bife as well.
Yeah.
And he's even had Bife on his podcast.
I feel like I want to go back to the beginning, but I feel like it's just too much. It's too far gone for me. I don't know if I've got the time in this world to listen to all the lore that's
there are some podcasts out there that can help you with that.
Yeah, I might have to get those details
because then you can actually be doing that and actually listening to the lore. Now, there's some that actually read the lore and then explain it. There's others that just read the lore and don't explain it and let you make up your own mind. And then there's other ones that assume you already know the lore and just discuss it.
Okay.
There's something for everyone out there.
Yeah, that's I might have to look into that for sure, because the story that they're telling is great. Like they could make a TV, they could make some kind of series, but it's
There's
they've
so
got
many books.
a lot
If
on
they
their
ever did
plate.
books on this, just on the Reef Wars between the Awoken and the House of Wolves, the Elixni, that could be a major book series in itself.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
All right, so now we've got tips, tricks, guides, and builds. Leveling up Varrix's sabotage missions will allow you to turn a reward from a powerful to a pinnacle.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Fourth one along is the European Explorer 3. Turns the weekly Exo challenge to a pinnacle. That's pretty decent. Have you done the Exo challenge yet, guys?
I've done one of the Exo challenges, but I mean, aren't these part of the Varrix's missions? But he has like kind of like that Umbral Dakota was. It had those 3 tiers of different ones.
Yeah, I feel like it unlocked some kind of mission that I had to complete. It was interesting. I did it with the GDAD, and so did you do this week's one or no?
Yeah, so it changed. So you're talking about the mission that's near as you go, as if you're going to go to the large Exo head, and there's like
I think so.
Yeah, it
something
changed.
Like that. Yeah.
This one was the platforms that kept disappearing all the time.
Yes, see, I did that. I didn't do it last week. I did it this week. Now, these platforms, right? I had fun with GDAD a bit. So there's a part in it where it's like a square, and the platforms, each side of the square will disappear and reappear on the other side. So you kind of have to run around.
You have to keep moving.
You have to keep moving, or there's an option to. So you know those white glowing cubes that you shoot.
Yeah.
And when you shoot, it unlocks like a Vex barrier. So there were 4 of these. I'll need to eventually show you the video that I recorded, but there were 4 of these. So I was standing on one, GDAD was standing on the other, then there were 2. I shot one, jumped to another, shot the next one. Then I ran on the edge, shot mine, and then there was one more left, the one that GDAD was on. I didn't inform him that I was going to shoot it. So I shot it, and he dropped, and I landed in the part that we needed to continue the mission. But
Jeez, you're lucky.
Yeah.
I did that part. Sorry, go.
Yeah, no, go. Yeah, go.
I say I did that part. I was playing with a friend, and he kept falling through because the platform, like you said, you had to keep moving or it kept falling through. And I actually jumped, where you had the terminal you had to hack.
Yeah.
It had a big barrier around it, but it was a cylinder shape on a square. Yeah. So it had 4 corners that you could actually stand on.
Oh, you could stand on them.
So I jumped on that and I just watched him keep running around.
Yeah. I mean,
floor keep falling below him and him trying to catch up to it. It was kind of like something out of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's how it happened with me. I was just running around. I was like, this can't be right. So I eventually jumped on the squares, and then I disposed of GDAD, and continued.
Disposed of the dead weight. Keep going.
Yeah. So the second one along is the Europa Challenge 3, which turns a weekly Empire hunt to a pinnacle. Has to be completed on master difficulty, like the Moon Nightmare hunt missions to drop the. Leveling up the lure to level 3. It's called Power Hunter from the Crow as part of the Wrathborn hunts. Turn the powerful into a pinnacle after completing 5 Wrathborns per week.
I'm not at that stage yet.
No.
I'd like to
either.
be.
Yes, I would too soon.
I'm only at level 2, I think, which means I can start doing hive ones.
I don't even think I'm up to that. I need to get onto that.
I got the lure and then I got disconnected and I just went, apparently I'm not supposed to be
far
playing
as you're
Destiny
getting.
this week.
No, Bungie's like
Australia's internet.
Yep, you've made it too far. Far. That's
you've played 3 hours of Destiny this week. That's enough.
Yeah.
You've hit your quota.
Yeah. For completing one of Varrix's sabotage quests called European Explorer 2, it wants you to get 30 high-value kills inside of an Empire hunt. What you can do is do the Phylax Empire hunt all the way up to the section where a flag spawns at the Asterian Abyss to finish the mission. And when you're ready to use this checkpoint to load into, as there are 6 high-value targets fighting at the entrance, you can kill all of them, abandon the mission, and it will spawn you back at the flag, and you can load in again, repeat 5 times. Wow, I needed this.
Yeah,
I still need it.
I'm still at that point, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I think I might be able to utilize this because, yeah, I am up to that. Okay.
Definitely useful.
Yeah. Once you level up Varrix's sabotage quest, you will be given access to a weekly Empire hunt with selectable modes like the Nightfall ordeals, where you have a rare chance at earning the new exotic sniper Cloud Strike, plus high stat Cristo Cream armor. I like to call that Krispy Kreme armor. Enhancement claws and enhancement prison, like the Nightfalls. Adept and hero are match made, whilst the legend and master are not.
That's kind of cool. Just another Nightfall sort of thing, but set to Europa only.
Yeah, we'll see. Night Demon. The thing is, I didn't have that unlocked. Night Demon did, but I was still allowed to enter with Night Demon. So he took me through that last night. We just went through it once. It wasn't too bad. It's matchmaking for the lower levels, and yeah, it wasn't bad.
It's quite like the Pit of Heresy. If you hadn't finished the campaign of Shadowkeep, you couldn't get into Pit of Heresy. But if the fire team leader had access to the Pit of Heresy, you can bring anyone through, which is cool.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see that new exotic sniper yet?
I have not. I've not seen it in use. I figured it was a lot like the Thunderlord but sniper version, but otherwise I have no idea what it's like. I have not seen it.
I've only seen a video of it, and I remember the guys talking about it a few podcasts ago when they were sort of dropping hints of what the exotics were. And supposedly it creates like a thunderstorm around and then strikes down. But what we were kind of curious was if you had a team of 3 or even a raid team of 6 and they're all hitting these crit shots and creating these clouds, do you suddenly have like one giant Uberstorm that's just going to come through and strike everything? Or
I feel like we need to all get this weapon and give it a try.
Yeah, that's definitely on my to-do list.
Yeah. That'd be...
If only it dropped a snowstorm and then Frozen would be set.
Something. There's a couple of things I found out this week, which I probably should have known. But one was following like freezing. No time to explain. When you hit critical points, your gun automatically reloads. We all know this. It's happened in Destiny 1. But if your enemy is frozen and you shoot them at any of their frozen points, you get your ammo back as well.
Oh, so it's classified as a crit.
Yes,
nice.
Which I think it says that within the perks, but I didn't read it properly. I just wanted to shoot. But yeah, so that I think is really cool. Another thing I found out, you know, Panoramix 18?
Yes.
Yes.
He is. Wait, it is 18, right? If I've got that wrong, it's terrible.
That is Pan.
Yeah, Pan and I we're at the tower, and he had to jump out of the fire team briefly and then join back. But we figured out if you jump out of the fire team at the tower, you remain at the tower now within that fire team. You're not within the fire team, but you're at the same instance at the tower. So he was still there, just his name was Blue.
Okay.
And then he joined straight back into our fire team afterwards.
So it didn't return him to an orbit or anything?
Didn't return him to orbit, which is a great feature.
I did notice that too last night. I jumped out of a team and I thought it was going to return me to orbit and it just said leaving fire team.
Yeah, it's a great feature. That needed to be in there a long time. It needs to be in patrol and all that, but they won't do that because then you can take advantage of like the escalation protocols and stuff like that. But how good would that be?
Well, there's no escalation protocols anymore.
I know, but they'll bring something in that requires something.
No, it is good. I mean, these are those little tweaks that they're working on, which I think are really good for it. I mean, yeah, they just need to keep it up, and like Cosmo said, just listening to people's feedback.
Yeah, I just love how it went under the radar for me. I don't know if anyone else knew about it. I don't remember it being mentioned anywhere, but yeah, it was just something small that they did, and yeah, it was good.
No, I only noticed it since you said it that it happened last night, and I sort of I saw it and thought, oh, this must be just the normal. Like I've just never noticed it before. But
Yeah.
no, you are right.
All right. So there are lots of YouTube guides and lots of nice videos out there at the moment, especially since the Raiders dropped. There've been a few. Have you guys watched any videos that you kind of liked and wanted to chat about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll probably chat about some of the raid ones and some of the things I've discovered around, but I also think that the stasis, a lot of people have cracked and said the stasis is either crap or it's too overpowered. I actually really enjoy it. I still think that it has its place, and sometimes you need to go back to your light.
Yeah, I feel like I'm mainly using stasis unless I've got a bounty that says I have to use something else. So I'm enjoying it. It's not overpowered or anything. It's just something it's different.
It's new.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, happy.
I just enjoy when I get to use it now. And it kills a lot of people when you're doing these doing the missions and you get it.
Don't get me started on you hunters with your stasis ability. In Crucible, that's just ridiculous. I'm not even going to go there.
It's still not as good as the Warlocks one. It is good.
Mate, I don't know. I must be terrible at Crucible this season because I can't use my Warlock one efficiently, and 2, the Hunter one, I just get picked up by a tornado while I'm frozen every single time. I was playing Mayhem though, so that's most likely the reason.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You probably get picked up by someone else.
That's not going to go well in Mayhem.
Yeah.
It's going to be like when they introduced the Way of 1,000 Cuts.
Yeah, true.
Because Mayhem just went stupid.
It did.
All right. Well, I mean, I can start us off with that first one if you want, with Fallout Plays.
Yeah.
Pretty much, the Fallout Plays one is a good in-depth raid walkthrough. So if you're wanting to do the raid properly and going through all the encounters with a proper 6-man team, I'd definitely say it's worthwhile. It's not one of these hour-and-a-half sort of entire raid sessions. It is still 30 to 40 minutes, but he goes through a lot of the depths of the mechanics that you need to do, things that you need to watch out for that can cause you to wipe. But obviously, now that you don't have that power cap disadvantage, if you take a team in, you probably have a good chance that most people have done it or will be able to withstand the boss's damage because he's weapons that seem to track you over and around corners and under and behind boxes and stuff won't be as deadly as they were to have Raid Day Race 1. And it also just shows you, even in his video, just all the, as we're saying, the beautiful environment, scenery that they've created for this raid. I reckon was really cool. So well worth a watch. The Cheese for Everyone has an infinite shelter frostbite cheese. So this again follows back into the raid. It's not the first encounter, it's sort of along the way. Some people have called it encounters in their videos, but you have to do this, not a sparrow race, but you have to be on your sparrow and you go outside into this blizzard and it's causing frostbite. And if you get frostbite that reaches times 10, you die. And to counteract this, you have all these bubbles that sort of have a heater and a whole heap of fallen in it. So the way his cheese works is that you use your sparrow, you park it just outside the bubble, walk into the bubble, and then turn, face your sparrow and jump back on, and you actually get the perk which protects you from the blizzard called Shelter from the Storm permanently on your character.
Wow.
And yeah, so one of the free raid loot chests that you can get is in this first area before you even get to the first encounter. But if you're playing it normally, you'd have to know exactly where it was and get there quickly because you would get frostbite. Whereas if you have this perk already on, you can freely walk around. You can use your sparrow or jump around. You do lose this cheese if you die by falling off a ledge because it's a blizzard. It's hard to see some of the areas, and also if you get killed by any of the enemies. But you can easily just get it back. It's a really simple one to get, which is great. So definitely one worth looking at if you just want to get some of those easy raid chests. And then I guess that would lead on to the next video, which is about getting 2 of the easy crypt raid chests. So there are, I think in total from memory, there's 5 raid chests in the game, 3 which are linked to encounters. Maybe it could be 6 actually. but they're linked to encounters. There's 2 which are open in the world that you can find. So the first one is that start encounter during the blizzard, which if you use that frostbite shelter glitch, you can get to that one easy. But the video done by Jarv shows some easy way for all classes to be able to sort of glitch outside the map and get the second chest. So he did a video last week which catered more to the Titans and Warlocks, but this one is super easy, really good. You just need to have a sword, and you literally just walk to an area and step out. It's almost like there's an invisible hole in the wall that just drops you right outside the map, and then you can jump around, do a couple of jumps and sword swings, and you're there. So it's only a 8-minute video, and he goes through the first encounter as well, or the first raid chest through the blizzard. So half of that you've already done previously. Really well worth the watch, especially some of the. I'm not sure if some of you guys have seen the new raid gear. I know Respawn got himself a shotgun that he loves.
I have not seen any of it. No.
Oh, it's really good. The sniper rifle, the shotgun, all that type of stuff is really, really cool. I know Respawn had a perk on one of his that automatically reloaded his shotgun, but overloaded it for him as well. So he could sometimes open it up and get 20 rounds in his shotgun. Like, it was really cool.
Wow.
Things like that. Really good.
Nice.
So, yeah, worth looking into those ones to try to get some raid gear.
Yeah, in regards to the heating mechanic, is that only in the raid, or was that in the Exo challenge last week?
No, kind of. It was very similar to it. You did get something called frostbite.
Because I didn't do the challenge last week, but G-Dad mentioned it, and now that you mentioned it, I was like, "There's no way he accidentally went into a raid, did he?" But if the fact that it's in the Exo challenge, okay.
I think that's one of the things they're bringing those raid things back to the playable area. Maybe just so that when someone does start a raid for the first time, they're not mind-boggled by all these new things they have to learn. There's similar things they've already done throughout the game or campaign.
Yeah.
So, E-Raw has made a hunter build. He called the video, "I finally made a hunter build." And in this video, he talks about how he sets up his abilities, his weapons, and his armor so he can dodge, which slows his nearby enemies. It also reloads his weapons and gives faster reloading and changing weapons. And talks about how he uses his Warmind cells. And with all this, he basically never runs out of ammo in his weapons.
I always need to look more into these PvP builds and even some of the PvE ones.
Yeah, that one's a PvE one, and that I sat there watching that going, I will be doing this.
Definitely.
When I get decent internet and I can actually play.
As long as you've got all the things to go with it, though, that's the other part. I mean, I know Stasis has all these extra shards that you got to try and find, so I'm still in the middle of doing that. But I guess once you've got all that down, it's when to start doing these builds.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize how in-depth Stasis went. And I also checked out a video by a crazy Mr. Pips called a one-shot bow kills. And this guy has just made this crazy PvP build, and he just dominates. Shows how he can use the Luminarch with the Whisper of Hedron, and just gets constant one-shot bow kills Crucible.
It is one of the bows I haven't done much with. I know lots of people use it in Crucible. I generally try to steer clear of these slow pull times on the bows, just because I like to be able to lay down a bit of fire quickly. But I have been killed with the Monarch many times. So the fact that he's now got a one-shot version kind of annoys me, because other people are going to be shooting me once with a bow.
I just sat there watching this video and just went, that's a weapon I unlocked, and went, cool, I've unlocked it. And I've never used it since. And now I'm sitting here thinking I should really give that a go.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not sure if you guys have found these before. I stumbled across one accidentally, but there's these souvenir penguins that you can find out in the world. And it turns out that they're weekly appearing at the moment. But they're kind of like a makeshift. Someone's made them out of spare parts to look like a penguin. And the first one you found is just in that first explorable, playable open area where you meet some of the ads and stuff. There's a cave off to the right that's protected by a whole heap of Vex. And I went in there and there was a yellow bar, sort of legendary, one of the wyverns. And so I killed him. And what happened was there was a Vex sort of force field behind that disappeared. And then in the corner, hidden in this rock, was this penguin statue or a souvenir. So I collected that. Had no idea where to put it until I randomly went next to the building next to Varix when I was just exploring. And there was one of the icons to interact with something. So I walked over there, placed the penguin down, and I got a triumph and a little bit of lore, like just a little note from who made it. So it turns out, though, that they're actually one a week they're introducing. And so in that room, if you go into that building next to Varix, you can walk up to the spot that hasn't got something yet, but it'll have a marker, and it will actually tell you where to look for the next one. But Abby Hour has actually created these videos of where all of them are. She's done one each week. So she's got a new one, which is for the third penguin, which is a kind of cool one. You have to kill a large, I can't remember what they're called. They're the Vandal, but the not a captain, the bigger one. You have to kill one of those, and he drops a Scorcher Cannon. And then you take that cannon to this block of ice that you can see slightly there's something inside of it. You use the Scorcher Cannon, it melts it, and there's the next penguin. So they're cool for the moment. No one's 100% sure, I believe, of what you get at the end of it when you collect all of them, whether it's just triumph score and a little bit of lore, or whether you get, I don't know, maybe another sort of figurine like the Exo, Finding All the Dead Exos does, gives you an Exo figurine. But it's a cool sort of, again, another little aspect to add to the game, I think, besides just finding dead ghosts on the moon, whatever. And then to follow that up, Abby's also done another video called The Well of Infinitude Drones, which is adding that aspect of the scanner augment that we sort of roughly talked upon quickly in the raids. That's something that I think has come out of this whole orbital meteor shower of things that have come down from the raid that are now on Europa. There are these Vandals that have this sort of yellow hexagon almost on their head, and when you kill them, to start with, they've got shields, they've got a whole heap of servitors around them, so you kill the servitors, drops their shield, you kill the Vandal, and you can pick up this, it's a buff almost called the scanner buff. What Abby shows you, which is good because I had no idea how to use it. The scanner buff is designed that it shows you things that are hidden. So if you had 4 enemies and only one of them is a real one, it would actually show you who is the real enemy and so who you need to attack. So she shows you where to go for this one, what you're meant to do. And then you've probably seen them before. There are these little drones that sort of hang around in packs of 4 in some of the levels on Europa. And I've just shot them, had no idea what I was meant to do with them. Turns out that the scanner, when you have a look, actually tells you which order to shoot them. And when you do that, it then opens a terminal, and then you can claim a reward and get some triumph for that one as well. So I'm pretty sure that one's going to be updating each week as well. But another little fun thing to do if you're bored or just looking for something to do out there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've noticed that I've got a lot that I haven't seen in this game.
Mm.
And so I came across a couple videos that I like. So if you've noticed these random shards throughout Europa, they're immune when you shoot them. They're called entropic shards, and YouTuber Spear Gaming has a great guide on how to collect all 9 of them. There's a triumph to collect all 9, but most people would be hunting them down to complete the Exo Stranger's quest aspect of control, which rewards you with a new stasis aspect. So most people will be doing that, and you only need to collect 5 shards to complete that. The only catch is you need the new exotic grenade launcher, Salvation's Grip, to destroy the shards, which can be obtained from the quest, the Stasis prototype, which you get from the Drifter.
I have to have a look at that one because I've got the grenade launcher, but I tried shooting the things and I couldn't destroy them.
Yeah, you might have to hold down the trigger. It is for Sword the Lament, which is a crazy weapon, by the way, because it does insane damage. Marcus B Gaming has a video out if you're yet to obtain the weapon, because it's definitely worth it.
some of the other cool videos that are worth having a look at. True Vanguard has the most meta hand cannon in Beyond Light, which turns out that at the moment a lot of people are using Sturm. If you didn't get that from the previous seasons before the quest was sunset, it's almost too bad from the moment. I think you can claim it still from. Can you claim it from the exotic kiosk, Sturm? I'm not too sure. If you can. It is actually worth it. And I never really rated it, but I've been killed by it many a times. So well worth just giving it a try. If you like hand cannons, you like Crucible or anything like that, give it a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Kamicakes Gaming does 10 tips for combating stasis in PvP. I won't go through all the 10 tips, but some of them are pretty obvious sort of things. But he does some really good information, I find, with the new types of stasis grenades you can have. There's one of those ones that's like the tracking. I think it like instantly freezes people if it touches them. You throw it on the ground and it just shows this like wave of ice that starts chasing the person. You used to be able to dodge out of it or jump, and that was fine. You can jump over it, but if you're jumping and there's a wall near you, it actually goes up the wall and tracks you, which is something I didn't know. The other thing is if it hits someone else and say it's coming for you and you jump out of the way and it hits someone behind you, it then starts again and tracks you again. So that's another thing to look out
Just
for.
a little bit OP. Just a little.
Yeah, which is why I want to get it. But so he has a couple of really good things in there about that, just to help those people that want to get a bit better at PvP. And now that we've got this whole new stasis environment where pretty much everything's ice if you're not in a good spot, it's well worth having a look at. I haven't tried this myself, but Destiny Fun Police have got this Juggernaut Titan build using the Icefall Mantles and Sweet Business. I am not a Titan main, but I have seen this in action. It just decimates. I mean, Sweet Business and Titans was always a pain in the butt in PvP. And now having the Icefall Mantles, it's just keeping them in the game. I mean, you used to have the Armored War Rig on, and Sweet Business used to be deadly, and now this just adds another aspect to it. So
yeah, I think Night Demon just got the exotic that gives him the overshield last night.
Yeah,
yesterday. So he's excited to take that into Iron Banner.
I have heard and seen people. It makes you a lot slower, but it's still, it's a bubble. It's a moving bubble.
Yeah, so, that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. We've sort of already talked about the Cloud Strike Exotic Sniper, but Houndish has got a video on how to get it. It is still a random drop dependent on you have to be doing Varix missions. But he gives you sort of a tip at least of what you should be doing to help increase that random drop. I haven't done much into Marcus B Gaming's Godroll opinions of the 7 Seraph hand cannon. I know that I like the look of it. Definitely going to start trying it out. I did go through a hand cannon phase, but I know that hand cannons are back. As Parody always says, hand cannons never go out of fashion, it seems, in Destiny 2. But I like the look of this one, so I'll probably put a bit of time into learning best way to use it.
And that's it. So I know I've enjoyed myself. It's been quite fun taking over for this week. Hopefully they don't mind. I doubt they would. They kind of get a break. Should I tell them that we've recorded this, or just let them go ahead and record theirs and
just send them the email and see what happens?
Yeah,
I just want to hear Night Demon say, "Oh, I've got mail."
Yeah,
and it turns out there's like this 2-hour, 3-hour recording of these Australian podcast studio.
Yeah, he may not even submit it. We may have just done this just for nothing. At least we've done it for us. That's the main thing. If no one else hears it, that's fine. You know what? Oh, I've got the downloads. Let's just submit it ourselves on our own private podcast. Let's start our own. We could definitely start our own 2 hunters and a warlock. It got nothing to do with the other Destiny podcast that I won't mention. But yeah, could do that.
Now we could do crossover here and there.
Yeah, it'd be all right. So have you guys enjoyed yourselves?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's been good. And when our internet has worked, and considering
Well,
everything
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. No, that's all right. It's been good. No, I've enjoyed it. I enjoy their show anyway, but it's good just to have this little fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sweet.
I always enjoy their show, so good to have a bit of a play with it.
Yeah. Hopefully they have us back again. If not, well, we tried, kind of.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Your hunters are Fordo 1990, Packed Llama, and your resident overpowered Warlock for this occasion has been Andy 13. You can contact us on the Xbox and PC. You can contact Andy 13, Fordo 1990, and on PC only, Packed Llama for any assistance we can help you with. We'd be happy to do so, whether it's raids or simply Nightfalls or just having a bit of fun on Crucible. Your usual hosts, Titans, are Parody and Night Demon, and your hunter, Master Race, is No One Respawns in Real Life. And your lore scribe today has been Not Arf. You can email the show at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. You can contact your favorite hosts of the show via Twitter at twotitans_hunter, on Facebook and Instagram, twotitansandahunter. You can also find your favorite hosts and not so favorite over on Xbox Live. You can watch some gameplay and listen to the show on YouTube. Listen to your show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and everywhere where fine podcasts are sold. We leave you with this warm, fuzzy feeling that your usual host will be back next week and up to their usual antics. Hooroo!
Ahoy, hoy.
Later, mates.
Bring a selfish bear and come in.
Oh,
No, wrong channel.
what are you doing? It's drunk. Craig's drunk.
Hello, koala bear. It's gone.
What?
You broke it. You called
You
him a
broke
koala and he
it.
didn't like
I
it.
did.
Good stuff. Perfect. All right. Yeah, sweet.
So, want to start with the Deep Stone Crypt?
Oh, wait, we have to intro ourselves.
We do. How about that?
All right, so the console update happens on the December 8th. I'll start that again because it's not the December 8th, it's just December.
It's all about Osiris and what he's done with Severa, and what he's done with Segera. Severa, that's a car.
I might redo that last bit because he's not Demon. You're not listening, but your spelling mistakes threw me, man. You're usually the usual.
But I'm thinking, yeah, so you can say the way out of the podcast, you can say hooroo. I want to say hoy hoy. And what do you want to say, Fordo?
Don't know.
Later, copper.
I think it's Unberg. It's the worst bit. That's it when you get put in the spot, you always come in blank.
Yeah, I know.
So, fair dinkum. Fair dinkum. Crikey. I don't know.
And done. There we go.
So, Night Demon, we're sorry if
Yeah,
it was
so sorry.
Yeah,
gives you some editing problems.
don't envy you, mate.
All right. Are we good to end the recording now?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
All right.
Have they gone? Have they left the room? I can't believe that they fell for that. We left the Discord open and they've done the podcast for us. I can't believe the fools that they are.
So wait, hold on. So what's happening? Did I miss something? I feel as though I've missed something vitally important to what we're talking about here. So we're still doing the podcast, right? I mean, that's still a thing. I'm here. I feel like we should do one.
Yeah, sure, bud. I mean, you're here. I'm here. The toaster's here. Might as well.
So why don't you just start with next week in Destiny?
All right. You're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So next week in Destiny, Season of the Hunt continues. Track down the Wrathborn. Lord Shaxx brings Clash to the Crucible. Defeat the Brood Queen in the Brood Hold Nightfall, the Ordeal Strike, and complete the Deep Stone Crypt by December 1st to earn the Raid Jacket. Hello? Is my mic on? Yeah, mic is on. Hello? Oi! Where did everybody go? What the hell? Where is everybody at?